Hey, this is Pastor Micah with Life's Journey, United Church of Christ. I just wanted to say I hope you're having a good week. We're going to be continuing our midweek reflections, looking to this week at Jesus' Sermon on the Mount. And I hope these reflections help lift you up, inspire, and challenge you each week. Last week, we looked at what it meant that Jesus said that he didn't want one jot or tittle to be removed, but for it to be fulfilled. And we continue on by looking at Matthew 5, beginning of verse 21, going down to verse 30. A Common English Bible. Here we read, starting in verse 21, Jesus, "You have heard that it was said to those who lived long ago, 'Don't commit murder, and all who commit murder will be in danger of judgment.' But I say to you that everyone who is angry with their brother or sister will be in danger of judgment. If they say to their brother or sister, 'You idiot,' they will be in danger of being condemned by the governing council. And if they say, 'You fool,' they will be in danger of fiery hell. Therefore, if you bring your gift to the altar, and remember, your brother or sister has something against you, leave your gift at the altar and go. First, make things right with your brother or sister, and then come back and offer your gift. Be sure to make friends quickly with your opponents while you are with them on the way to court. Otherwise, they will haul you before the judge. The judge will turn you over to the officer of the court, and you will be thrown into prison. I say to you in all seriousness that you won't get out of there until you've paid the very last penny. You have heard that it was said, 'Don't commit adultery.' But I say to you that every man who looks at a woman lustfully has already committed adultery in his heart. And if your right eye causes you to fall into sin, tear it out and throw it away. It's better that you lose a part of your body than that your whole body be thrown into hell. And if your right hand causes you to fall into sin, chop it off and throw it away. It's better that you lose a part of your body than that your whole body go into hell." Wow, I know you're preacher. I wanted to be encouraged, and you're talking about chopping off parts of the body and hellfire, and take a deep breath. I do think there's important words of Jesus here. And you can tell from the language, there's a lot of it that is hyperbolic and a little over the top to get our attention. But I think it's important in our times. And just bear with me as we look. Usually, when people teach or write about these two sayings of Jesus, they divide them. They do one part on lust and one part on anger. But I think these two sayings are linked, because both in hating another person and in lusting after another person, you do one thing. You turn objects, different kinds of objects, but objects just the same. My late wife, Catherine, used to say, "We forget everybody is somebody's baby." When we lust or we hate another person, they're no longer in our minds somebody's child, somebody's parent, a person with their particular passions, fears, and longings. And in essence, we forget they are children of God. Hatred and lust both instead turn others in our minds into objects either of vengeance on one hand or of longing on the other, who exist to meet our needs, either our needs for pleasure or for retribution. Now, most of the time, lust does not end up producing infidelity with our partner. Most of the time, hatred does not lead to murder, but almost never does that infidelity happen without a lust there that has been fed, grown, cultivated. Almost never does murder happen without anger and hatred having been fed and grown, beginning as resentment. It's like that old fable, I'm sure you know it, about the man with two wolves who seem equally matched. And the question is asked, which one would win the fight? Well, obviously, the one the man fed every day. Jesus' description of anger and hatred fit this. To be angry as a gut response itself is not sin. That is just a reaction. We have very little say over it. But when we feed that anger, like the man fed the wolf, it grows into resentment. We find ourselves calling that person we developed resentment with not just fool and idiot. That's a very tame translation of the word raka, a word that if we translated it literally, in the original language of the Bible would come across as a hateful, dehumanizing swear word, which is why we don't translate it. We've got tons of words that we could translate it as, tons of words we call people, and I'm not going to translate them here this way, but I bet if I threw any letter of the alphabet at you, you could find a good translation for raka, a swear to put people down, the sort of things we call people as anger. In a way, this anger and hatred and this lust are like weeds. Now, that's something I've been learning a lot about in a new house. I've been struggling with them. Poison ivy, running vines, you name it. Whenever I plant flowers or shrubs, it seems like these weeds aren't far behind. And it's so frustrating. At first, I just yank them up, but they come right back. Spray them with some weed killer, they come right back. To really get rid of them, you either have to pull them up by the roots, or if you can't pull them up, you just have to keep working at them again and again and again, even though they relentlessly seem to come back. To be people of love and compassion takes work. We have to continually be willing to re-examine our own hearts, to lay them at the altar, asking God to help us develop more compassion, more love, more of a willingness to change our own thinking and actions so that we can see people not just for what we can get from them, be that physical desire or vengeance, but for who they are in God's eyes, seeing them. No matter how attractive or offensive they are to us as God's children. One of the most life-changing for me to read is the counselor P.M. Melody's book, The Intimacy Factor. In it, she says, to emerge healthy from childhood is an act of recovery from keenly felt inadequacy and pain as we regain knowledge of our inherent worth and learn to accommodate to our perfect imperfection. The remembrance of our perfectly imperfect humanity is the bedrock on which the spirituality of recovery rests. Human beings have their limitations, but these limitations are not faults. They simply are part of the given truth about being human. If we learn to despise ourselves for being limited humans, we lose contact with the prime spiritual truth of life, that we are not perfect, but that is all right. Her words are a good reminder of what hatred and lust do. Both fail to embrace in others and in ourselves the perfect imperfection we bring. Fail to love others and ourselves unconditionally. Faults, flaws and alls, differences and all. Right now we are seeing the cycles Jesus calls us to break, the merry-go-rounds that are not so fun. He is calling us to jump off as they go full tilt in our society. Now many are fanning into lust and hate. People, including some people in the highest office, are stoking into flame hatred and resentment, anger that is breaking out not only in peaceful protests that respect the value and worth of all people while calling for human dignity, which is anger turned into loving work for reconciliation and justice, a good thing. But also, anger is being fanned into flames of violence. Most heartbreakingly, the shooting of peaceful protests of people of color by white supremacists has happened this week, as well as those who have been hurt by injustice justice, some of whom have abandoned the path of peaceful protest and engaged in violence. Both are occasions of this anger and hatred fanning into flame into injustice. We often don't think of it, but lust is being fanned into flame too. So often we think of lust being about sex, but really it can be about any desire, put at the expense of others, for food, for money, for comfortable jobs and success. It can be about full stomachs, titillating our taste buds, beating the Joneses. As Burger King commercials used to say, have it your way, right away. Part of why we're having trouble hearing this call to love our neighbor by doing the work of mask wearing, hand washing, and social distancing is lust like this. Desire not only to eat out like we always did before, to enjoy things that bring us delight, but to have those things, to have our way right away at the expense of respecting others' rights, values. Jesus calls us to change our outlook, to each day work to tear up these weeds of lust and hatred, to bring peace and compassion in the gardens of our lives. To close, I want to share with you a video of a hymn from our hymnal that we sang during Lent, based on a prayer for peace. As you listen to its words, let it echo in your heart as a prayer for our times. May we learn to be people of compassion. It describes today and all our days. I'm apparently experiencing difficulties here. Here it is. There we go.
From fear fear to trust. Lead us from hate to love, from war to peace. Let peace fill our hearts. Let peace fill our